Hi, in this video we will see how we configure basic authentication type in our REST API connectors. Basic authentication type is used in the services which accept username and passwords in the header which are base64 encoded. So let's start by adding a REST API connector. Here we'll take an example of Freshdesk which is used to manage your support tickets. Let's click on Continue. Here you can see from the Freshdesk documentation that it supports basic authentication where API key and X are base64 encoded before sending it to the authorization parameter. Also -u indicates in the curl request that its user credentials are sent, which is indicating that it is of basic authentication type. So let me select the basic auth type here, and so you can see username and passwords are pre-added over here. So in a normal standard basic auth implementation this would have been sufficient, and we can simply add a test URL to test the service. So I'll just add a test URL for now. We will change this later and see what happens when we test this. When I click on test, I can see it is asking for a username and password, but since Freshdesk accepts API key as a parameter, so will I do the additional field required in order to accommodate that. So let me add a field for accepting API key. We will have to give a user-friendly name and key name to identify this field. I will mark this field as required as it is mandatory for adding an account. I will select type as string so that it will be visible when the admin is adding this account. Target is if we select a location, it will be automatically sent in the request for all APIs we add under this connector. So target we can keep it none. Here we can give help text which will be shown when the user is trying to add this account under this field, and the placeholder will be shown in the API key text area field. The default value will keep it empty and click on add. Now this API key which we added can be accessed using a name of the key enclosed with double curly braces. API key should go in the username field, so I will edit this username field. We will keep everything as is, and under default value we will add API key enclosed within double curly braces. Since the username field will be assigned using the API key field, we don't want to show this field to the user, so I will just check this option and click on add. Similarly for the password field, the Freshdesk expects a hard-coded value X. Let me add this in default value, and since this value is already assigned we do not want to show this to the user. So I will check this option and click on add. So the username and password will not be shown, but API key will be assigned to the username field using default value we set. Now there is one more thing in Freshdesk documentation. If you look at this API, the domain here is basically your account subdomain. So let me add one more field to capture subdomain. Let me give a friendly name and key name as subdomain, type as string and target as none. Let me add a help text explaining user to enter your subdomain. For example, if your Freshdesk dashboard is available at deltex.freshdesk.com, then simply enter deltex. Let me add a placeholder and click on add. For adding a test request, we can see here our API endpoint which will return list of tickets in my account. Let me copy and paste it under test connection. Now the domain can be replaced with the subdomain key enclosed in single curly braces. What this will do is whatever the value of the subdomain user has entered will be replaced when the test connection API will get called. There are no other parameters required for this API, so we can skip this advanced section and click on continue. Now the last step is to test the configuration we have just created, so let me click on test. Here you can see it is asking two things: the API key and the subdomain, and the help text is shown over here and the placeholder is shown over here. So let me add the API key. I'll go to my account section, and from my profile settings I get the API key. Next I will copy this and let me paste it here, and subdomain I can copy it from my dashboard URL and paste it here. Now on clicking on submit, the API should call the view all tickets test endpoint with the given subdomain, and authorization key will be added in headers with base64 encoded API key X. Here you can see I got a successful response, and you can see the list of tickets which are there in my account. Let me click on continue. So we can see our Freshdesk connector got added successfully. Now let me add an account from the manage account section. Let me give a name to this account, and the API key and subdomain will be the same as we added earlier, and click on submit. Here you can see my account got added, and this account which will be available to use it in my API call. So let me add an API to consume the Freshdesk resource. Here let us use the same API which we use for test connection. Let me replace the domain with subdomain enclosed in single curly braces. This will add the subdomain key in the path params section. Here you can see it got added. Now the test value would be the subdomain key enclosed in double curly braces. We will use the same value in default value and make it mandatory. This need not be dynamic as its value is already assigned using the subdomain field's value. Under Authentication we will simply select a test account. If you have more than one account you can select any account which you want to test against. Based on the account selected, corresponding base64 API key will be sent in the authorization header along with this API call. Let me click on a test and save this API. Here you can see the list of tickets which are there in my account, so we can verify the same from the Under Ticket section. Ticket named Vintage Table Lamp over here is also returned here in the API response. Here you can see a list of all the tickets in response and our API got successfully added. So our Freshdesk connector has been added successfully. You can refer to our other videos where we have explained how you use this API in workflow or in our application. That is how you configure basic authentication type in REST API connectors. Thank you for watching.